For thousands of years, ancient Egypt has stood as a symbol of mystery, wisdom, and power. The pyramids, temples, and hieroglyphs that survive today hint at a civilization deeply concerned with life after death, cosmic balance, and divine authority. Yet behind the visible glory of the pharaohs and the grand rituals of state religion, there existed layers of hidden knowledge, closely guarded by priesthoods and initiates. These groups, sometimes described as secret societies in modern terms, preserved esoteric traditions, performed initiation rituals, and safeguarded spiritual and scientific wisdom that shaped not only Egypt, but also later mystical and secret orders across the world. To understand these secret societies, we must look beyond monuments and artifacts and into the heart of Egyptian spiritual life, where mystery schools, hidden brotherhoods, and sacred knowledge were woven into the fabric of the Nile Valley. The priesthood as a secret elite. At the center of Egyptian religion stood the priesthood, which functioned not just as a public religious authority, but as a kind of secretive society. Priests were not merely temple caretakers, they were keepers of hidden wisdom, initiates into sacred mysteries, and custodians of rituals designed to maintain Ma'at, the divine balance of the cosmos. Ordinary Egyptians participated in festivals, processions, and prayers, but the deeper mysteries of the gods were never revealed to them. These were the closely guarded secrets of the priestly orders. Each major city had its own temple and its own divine patron: Amun at Thebes, Ra at Heliopolis, Ta at Memphis, and Thoth at Hermopolis, to name a few. The priests in these temples underwent rigorous training in sacred texts, astronomy, medicine, and mathematics. This knowledge was not shared openly. It was restricted to initiates who were sworn to secrecy. The ability to read and write hieroglyphs itself was a kind of initiation, since literacy in Egypt was reserved for the elite. Priests studied sacred writings known as the books of the temple, texts filled with spells, hymns, and rituals that were never meant for public eyes. In this sense, the priesthood functioned as both a religious authority and a secret society, one whose members controlled access to divine knowledge. The mystery schools. Egyptian temples were not merely places of worship. Many acted as mystery schools, institutions where initiates were trained in esoteric wisdom. Candidates were carefully selected, often from noble families, and underwent years of purification before being admitted to the inner teachings. These schools taught astronomy, sacred geometry, medicine, alchemy, and metaphysics. The great temple of Heliopolis, dedicated to the sun god Ra, was one such center of learning. Here, initiates were taught about the cycles of the stars, the creation of the universe, and the hidden powers of the soul. Initiation was not simply intellectual, it was spiritual and experiential. Candidates were subjected to rigorous trials, sometimes involving isolation in dark chambers, fasting, or ritual confrontations with symbolic death and rebirth. These ceremonies were designed to strip away the initiate's attachment to the material world and open their mind to higher realities. Some scholars have speculated that chambers inside the Great Pyramid may have been used for initiation rituals, where initiates symbolically died and were reborn into higher consciousness. While such theories remain speculative, what is clear is that Egypt's mystery schools were precursors to the initiatory traditions that would later inspire Greek mystery cults, Gnostic sects, and even modern Freemasonry. The cult of Osiris and the secret of resurrection. Among all Egyptian gods, Osiris held the deepest association with secret initiations. Osiris, the god of death and resurrection, represented the promise of eternal life. His myth, being slain by his brother Set, dismembered, and restored by Isis, was at the heart of Egyptian spirituality. Public rituals celebrated Osiris's triumph over death, but initiates into the Osirian mysteries were believed to undergo deeper teachings. These secret rites were connected with the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells that guided the soul through the afterlife. Only initiates fully trained in these mysteries could hope to navigate the trials of the underworld and achieve immortality. The rituals enacted in Osirian cult centers like Abydos involved symbolic journeys through death and resurrection. For the initiate, it was not just about life after death, but about awakening hidden powers within the living soul. In many ways, the Osirian mysteries form the backbone of Egyptian secret societies. The idea that only a select few, trained and purified, could truly understand the journey of the soul created a spiritual hierarchy in which hidden wisdom was transmitted only to the worthy. Later mystery traditions in Greece, such as the Eleusinian mysteries, borrowed heavily from these Osirian rites. The cult of Isis and the hidden feminine mysteries. Alongside Osiris, Isis, his consort and sister, was central to Egypt's secret spiritual traditions. Isis represented magic, wisdom, and divine motherhood. While her cult became widely popular across the Mediterranean in later centuries, her deeper mysteries were reserved for initiates. Isis was seen as the goddess who revealed hidden knowledge, who taught the arts of magic, healing, and protection. Priestesses of Isis formed a kind of secret order, preserving feminine initiations that paralleled the more male-dominated Osirian rites. Through ritual chants, sacred symbols, and magical incantations, they were believed to wield powers that could influence both the physical and spiritual realms. Initiates of Isis learned the hidden names of the gods, a powerful form of esoteric knowledge believed to control divine forces. When the Greeks and Romans later adopted the cult of Isis, they often remarked on the secrecy of her rites. Initiates swore never to reveal the inner mysteries, much like members of modern secret societies. To be an initiate of Isis was to be part of an ancient and powerful spiritual brotherhood or sisterhood that stretched across cultures and centuries. The Brotherhood of Thoth and the secret of writing. Another central figure in Egyptian esoteric traditions was Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and hidden knowledge. Thoth was believed to have authored sacred texts that contained the secrets of the universe. Some of these writings, known as the Books of Thoth, were said to hold magical formulas capable of controlling the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. The priests of Thoth at Hermopolis formed an intellectual and mystical order, a kind of brotherhood of scribes. They were the guardians of hieroglyphs, astronomy, mathematics, and timekeeping. In later legend, these secret teachings of Thoth were transmitted through Hermes Trismegistus, a syncretic figure combining Thoth with the Greek god Hermes. This became the foundation of Hermeticism, an esoteric tradition that heavily influenced Gnosticism, alchemy, and the Renaissance occult revival. The Brotherhood of Thoth in ancient Egypt functioned as a secret society of scholars and magicians, preserving a tradition of sacred science that was never fully revealed to the public. To be initiated into their ranks meant gaining access to a body of wisdom that shaped the future of Western esotericism. The pharaoh as the ultimate initiate. The pharaoh himself was not only a political ruler, but also the highest initiate of Egyptian mysteries. His coronation was itself an initiation ritual, in which he symbolically united with the gods and assumed divine authority. Pharaohs were trained in sacred lore, taught by the highest priests, and underwent initiation rites that confirmed their status as living gods on earth. Some traditions suggest that only pharaohs and the highest priests knew the full secrets of the afterlife, the architecture of the cosmos, and the hidden powers of magic. This exclusive knowledge ensured their control over both the spiritual and political spheres. Pharaohs were buried with elaborate rituals and secret spells, many of which were inscribed in the pyramid texts, and later the coffin texts. These writings were not made for the common people. They were the property of the royal and priestly elite, another example of how Egyptian religion was structured as a hierarchy of secret knowledge. The secret societies of ancient Egypt did not die with the fall of the pharaohs. Their influence spread across the ancient world and resurfaced in many later traditions. The Greek philosophers, particularly Pythagoras and Plato, were said to have studied in Egyptian temples, where they were initiated into mystery schools. The Eleusinian mysteries of Greece, which focused on death, rebirth, and secret initiations, bore striking similarities to the Osirian rites of Egypt. In the Hellenistic period, Hermeticism emerged, combining Egyptian wisdom with Greek philosophy. These Hermetic texts, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, carried forward the secret teachings of Thoth. They became the foundation of many Western occult traditions, from Renaissance alchemy to Rosicrucianism. Even Freemasonry, with its emphasis on hidden symbols, sacred geometry, and initiatory rituals, draws heavily on Egyptian motifs, particularly the symbolism of the pyramid and the all-seeing eye. The secret societies of ancient Egypt were not secret in the modern sense of shadowy political clubs, but rather initiatory brotherhoods and sisterhoods dedicated to preserving sacred knowledge. They existed within the temples, the priesthoods, and the royal court, ensuring that cosmic balance and divine mysteries were passed down through select initiates. Their rituals of death and rebirth, their devotion to gods like Osiris, Isis, and Thoth, and their mastery of sacred sciences made them the custodians of one of the most profound spiritual traditions in history. Today, echoes of these societies still resonate. The fascination with pyramids, hieroglyphs, and Egyptian symbolism in modern secret societies reveals just how deeply the Nile's ancient mysteries shaped the hidden traditions of humanity. Though their temples have fallen and their rituals are no longer practiced in their original form, the essence of Egypt's secret societies, the pursuit of hidden wisdom, the power of initiation, and the promise of spiritual transformation lives on, whispering to us through the sands of time.